Thesis number one is about tight records and the works mentality that it engenders among Christians, especially in the African church. Works mentality is the belief or understanding that something that you do as a person, as a human being, um, contributes or actually is responsible for your salvation or even defines the quality of your Christianity. And tithes tend to fall in this category. This idea, in fact, is a fundamental difference between Protestant Christianity and Catholic Christianity. If indeed it is Christianity, the Catholics believe that besides the salvation, that the grace of God that saves you, you also have to do a host of other things, and they have a really long list of things that you have to do. Among them is paying your way. You can actually pay your way out of purgatory and therefore save yourself from going to hell, which is what we understand to be a totally free gift from Christ as Protestants. So there's a difference there, and it's a point of departure. We charismatics and Pentecostals are in fact Protestants and therefore subscribe to a significantly different view from Catholics. So the moment you are functioning on that idea, you are actually challenging the foundations of your Protestant Christianity. Tithe itself is not the problem per se, although I'm very aware of the very very heavy controversial baggage that hangs around its neck. I like to look at tithe as an offering. So when you categorize it in that way, it becomes less of a problem. You treat it like any other offering. And when a Christian decides that they're going to give a tenth or even a 30th or whatever fraction that they decide, because I know most people think that tithe is just giving a tenth, but it could be more than that. But when you decide that you're going to give a fraction of your earning as a Christian towards the furtherance of the work of God, then you are in fact a faithful Christian, a Christian who believe enough to want to go into your substance and support the furtherance of the work of God. This, in fact, must be encouraged because offerings cannot be done away with. They are a fundamental teaching of the Christian faith. And therefore, those who do that must be commended. But you don't look at it as tithe. You're looking at it as an offering. And then, we can subject it then to all scriptural prescriptions. And I'll give you an example. Matthew 6 verse 1 says that when you give and you let other people know about it, then obviously you already receive your reward from men, and you're not likely to get anything from your Father in heaven. That's not what we see with tithe records. Tithe records really is to show everybody that, look, I'm a good Christian and I'm contributing to the work of God. I was especially amazed when I joined the BICF group of churches in Beijing and found out that nobody really cared whether I paid my tithe or not. It was totally up to me. But in my faithfulness, I paid tithe. And so did many other people who are true believers. There were those who obviously didn't pay because they're not really, into Christ like that. I think you'll find that most Africans will think a little differently. You ask them how they know that they are saved and therefore true Christians, and they will say, well, tithe record, I pay my tithe regularly, and therefore that shows that I'm a true Christian. They will say that even as they leave in sin. Salvation is by grace alone. That's what we believe as Protestants. That's how we know we understand the Word of God. Like I've said, that's significantly different from Protestants. So when from Catholicism, and when pastors get on the pulpit and they hammer on the idea of tithe and they judge everybody and evaluate everybody's Christianity, by their tithe. They force people to believe that they're Christians, they're true Christians or good Christians, and therefore saved for that matter, because they're regular payers of tithe. This is really antithetical to Christian doctrine. So eliminating tithe records, therefore, is a means by which we eliminate this mentality and we create true believing Christians who worship God in truth and in spirit. Do not depend on something they do and think that's what saved them. Those who do things to save themselves have no need of Christ, because they're saving themselves in effect. So eliminating tithe records is supposed to do this, and therefore create a better Christian, better church in Africa.